Hello, Jackie's having a little drinky drink.
Hi, this is Jacqueline,
And this is Gabrielle.
and you're watching
Trial and Error.
Ooh.
Ooh, that was new. I like
I
that.
know,
Okay.
I kind of like that. First, thank you to our 4 Instagram followers.
Very loyal. 2 of them are us. You gotta be loyal to yourself first.
And then thank you to all new 20 views on YouTube. We did just upload our second one, so please click the link below. Watch it.
We talked, oh my gosh, I'm stuttering today. We talked all about icks. So, if you want to know about our icks and just icks in
Some
general.
very popular icks. I suggest you go watch it. It was, honestly, we could have kept talking about that. It was a talking one. It was.
It's long. It's like 15 plus minutes.
Yeah.
Which, that's a long time, I feel like, for us. So.
I mean, we can yap, but, yeah, I agree.
We were in our element with that one, though.
We definitely were. I loved it. I was here for it. But today we are going to talk about the pressures of dating in your 20s. As we've shared this a handful of times, we talk about like just trial and error of being in your 20s, but also because this podcast is trial and error. And then we talk about how it's definitely 20s is like you think you're going one way and then reroute. But you know what? Sometimes it's a better drive that way.
And one of the main things with like trial and error in your 20s, I feel like, is dating.
Yeah, I
dating
agree.
In your 20s.
We were talking about this and we were coming up with ideas while we were driving or like topics to talk about. And I would say, as for us, I feel like when we graduated college, I feel like we had friends kind of everywhere in the aspect that like we had friends that had multiple kids. We had friends that were already married. We had kids that like have already found their person, and we weren't necessarily in the aspect when we were in college in the aspect of like being ready to be married.
Yeah.
After we graduated college, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, yeah. I feel like even a lot of our friends too, they kind of skipped even that college step, and they have other careers, obviously. They skipped that one route and they kind of went straight to marriage and kids, and that's very much where they've been in the past couple of years. And I think,
which I'm sure is pretty common in your 20s. Like you have those friends that are like, it's so common in your 20s. You have those friends that are married. You have those friends that are still in college. You have those friends that don't know
what they're doing at all.
Very common. But I do feel like there was that pressure of after we graduated college to kind of like, okay, what's next? Like you go out there in the world, and like I think there's this idea that you should be married and you should start to plan your future. And I think for girls it's a little different than for men. Let me rephrase that. For women it's a little different than for men. I feel like for women we have a little bit more of a time clock than men do. Not that you have to feel that pressure at all though. Like if it's not something for you, it's not something for you, which is totally fine. But I think in that aspect, that kind of like seeing your friends already doing it at a time, I do feel like at a time I felt like I was behind.
Oh yeah, and there's even times now that I still feel like that, but I think, I mean, at least
we're not.
And like we were talking about 2 different things, but one thing we were talking about is how life takes everyone different paths. And it's supposed to be that way for a reason. We all don't go down the same paths. Life would be super boring if everyone in the world just followed the same path. And there would be a lack of ideas, and there'd be a lack of things. There'd be a lack of a lot of stuff that we have in society if everyone followed the same path. And that's a big thing. You just got to remember that your life is just not intended to be like everyone else's.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's also that look that like, I'm sure most people can relate to this, but our parents that are your parents are in your 50s also, in their 50s.
Our parents are like roughly the same age.
Our parents that are in their 50s, like by the time they were our age, like my parents had like 3 kids and like were married and had a house. And so things, also clearly life looks very different for us in our 20s now than when our parents were in their 20s.
Even just like economy and everything. It's not as easy to have kids and have families as it was. I mean, it wasn't easy for them by any means, but it's not as easy with, just even like the cost of living in today's time. But I will say too, when you look at the marriages from that era now,
They're very different.
They're very different, like, versus, and I think that's why our generation also is a little bit more hesitant towards marriage compared to that generation, is because I do think that generation grew up in an era, and I even was talking about this with my mom, where it was expected of her. She's like, it's expected that, like, you get married, you have kids, that's just what you do. Like, that's what everyone does.
Yeah,
that's what
and I feel like there's less pressure to have to do that now. I think you still have that little, at least for myself, I had that little self-pressure when, like, I first graduated college, but I think now that it's been a few years since then, I feel like in reality, there's not that pressure. Like, no. I think that's more something that I was putting on myself.
100%. It's more acceptable. I feel like nowadays people are trying to go the opposite route. But I think you just give that pressure to yourself, especially when you're surrounded by friends that have all those things, and that's what you see.
Yeah, I agree. I think also just dating back when our parents were dating compared to now, like, I think now the biggest way that I see people dating is because of dating apps. I think that's why dating apps are such a big thing. I feel like, also, after you're done with college, it's so hard to go out in the real world and meet people. Even friendships.
People don't talk to each other. Have you noticed that? Like, people don't... You go in a public place. I do, because I'm a talker. My mom does too. She'll just talk to a random person at a grocery store. But nobody, especially males and females, talks to each other. It's like you go do your thing and you go home. And so, like you said, it's like, how are you supposed to meet people?
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to meet someone at work because that can be kind of awkward, you know? But, yeah, that's so true. It's harder to meet people out in the real world, so I could see dating apps being easier, but dating apps weren't a thing back when our parents were dating.
They were, I will say too, that generation, a lot of them got married from high school partners. Yeah. I will say, like, a lot of that generation, and a lot of those people are divorced. But
my parents didn't meet in high school. They met, like, out in a public setting, but that's because you had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no other way. They didn't have dating apps.
Just like, you don't, and now you don't dare talk to someone in a public setting. And the only time you do is at a bar after you've had a couple of drinks. But you don't want to date, like, no one wants to date someone they met at a bar usually. Like, that's not usually good intentions. I mean, there can be, though. But there can be, in some people's cases.
There can be some great stories.
There can be some people you can meet the love of your life at a bar. You can technically meet them anywhere. But from, like, the most part, you can have not the best experience with a guy.
Yeah, I could see that.
But there's also that, 1 in a million chance that some people get. And they meet the love of their life. But, yeah. I don't know, the pressures of dating, it's just like now, like you said, nobody talks in public. It's all through dating apps, which is totally different. And the thing about the dating apps, I feel like everyone's kind of fed up with the dating apps, which makes it even harder now. So I feel like people have decided, and I see this a lot on like TikTok and online, people have collectively decided that we just don't want to do it.
Yeah. I am not very familiar with dating apps. I definitely feel like the pressure would be on, though, and I could see where people would be annoyed. I've heard a lot of stories. I've heard a lot of, I don't want to say nightmares, but, like, I've heard some bad stories. I've heard some good stories, but, I mean, you also meet those people who have gotten married and they've been on dating apps, and that's how they met. But the odds of that are also probably slim. However, if you look statistically, like, most relationships don't end up working either way. So I'm sure that's, like, whether it was a dating app or whether it was, like, out in the real world. But, yeah, I could see how people could be fed up with dating apps. I feel like dating apps, so, personally myself, I don't feel like I could do it. I feel like there would be, like, dates are a lot. First dates are a lot.
A lot.
First dates can be very, especially for as a woman, especially as a woman, there we go. Getting ready for a date is a lot. The pressure's on. It's a whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Like, and then you don't also, I will say with dating apps, what has added to now the first date pressure is not only is, like, the getting ready and then the fact that you have to meet this person for the first time and you don't know what the heck the conversation is going to be about. Now you have to be worried, is this person going to look like what I think they look like?
Oh, that's such a good point. I would have thought it was the other way around because you've already seen pictures of them. But
they're misleading. Even if you get verified on these apps, which people probably know what I'm talking about. I usually only match with people if they're verified. The little check mark.
How do you get verified?
You have to do like facial recognition. I'm verified. You have to like. I sit there and they like they do a thing and then they match it to your pictures and they either give you like verified like she's the whatever technology they do matches the pictures or it doesn't, and then obviously you wouldn't get verified. But the thing is, I mean, I was verified and I verified myself without makeup, so maybe that's a good thing. Apparently I look similar. But even though someone's verified, because it's not really that hard to get verified, I feel like the pictures can be super misleading.
Really?
Like very misleading. I have rarely, and they can be old pictures.
Oh, you're right. I guess I have, even if I go like back like 2 years ago, my pictures are very different. I just did this thing where I had to send in pictures of myself, and I was like, I feel like some of these don't even look like me.
No, that's what I feel like too sometimes, even with myself. I'm like, I go on it sometimes. I haven't been on dating apps as of lately, as she knows, because she hasn't gotten any notifications that my pictures have been liked.
So that's funny. So I know when she's on dating apps because we have so many pictures that we're both on Instagram or videos.
The one where you like, what is it called when you guys
collab with someone?
Yeah.
So when someone goes and likes her post, I get the notification because they're also liking my post. So I know when she's on dating apps, and I also get like all these random followers that start following me from her pictures.
Mm-hmm. That's when you know. That's when she knows I'm on the dating apps.
Yeah,
She'll get random likes from random guys.
They're like, let's go follow her best friend to make sure we catch her attention.
That way she really knows. Which I'm not gonna. If I haven't followed you back, then it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry to tell you. Like. Also, if I didn't match with you, the odds of you then going to my Instagram and following me and me...
Wait, people go and follow you and you...
Because it's connected to my socials. So I get... Yeah.
No.
And I'm not private. So... And I don't want to be private because that's why I do social media. I don't want to be private. But some people do. Some people don't. They like that privacy. But like they'll go like my account. And I'm like, if I didn't match with you, the odds of you then like following me and messaging me and then me replying is very slim. Like, your Instagram's got to be freaking amazing for me to switch up like that.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. But, like, the whole point of, like, the dating apps is, like, that fear that... And it's just such a fear before you leave. You're like, okay, is this person going to look like I think they look like? And you have this anxiety. And then you're like, okay, well, what if he doesn't look like what I have imagined in my head? And then I have to sit through this whole date? Because you don't want to be rude. You don't want to see them and be like, no, I got to go. Like, obviously, that's mean. You have to sit and, like, finish this date. And then, this sounds really bad, but then you're, like, worried, like, what if you see someone you know, and you're with this person? I don't know. It's just a whole mind
I
thing.
feel like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be kind of fun. To a certain extent, but talking to so many people has to be so draining and so tiring. I'm sure, like, how can you keep all these conversations going? I'm already, like, so bad at communicating to, like, the handful of people that I communicate on a regular basis, which is, like, 8, 10 maybe. Mm-hmm. Oof.
And then a lot of times, the way you also get fed up with dating apps is the conversations you're having with these people is like the same thing, copy and paste with every guy. It's like,
oh, I'm sure because you're trying to get to know each other.
It's like, hey, hi, how's your day? Oh, I'm at work. What do you do for work? I do this. Oh, that sounds exciting. It's like and then you go from work to like, oh no, like what do you like to do in your free time? Oh no way. It's like, you know that TikTok where the one where they're getting ready for their date, and it's like, oh really? Like how many sisters do you have? And it's like the person making fun of how you have to ask those same questions every date.
I don't. Guys, I also don't have TikTok
Oh, yeah,
anymore.
she doesn't have TikTok because she deleted it.
As soon as the ban happened, side note, but as soon as the ban happened, I kept finding myself clicking on it, and I was like, this is a problem. Like, there's no reason I should keep, like, if I'm going back and just clicking on it and nothing's working, and it's just, like, stored in my brain, connected in my brain that way, I was like, I have a problem. So I was like, I'm going to delete it so I don't keep clicking on it, not thinking that it was going to come back so soon, or not thinking that if it came back, I wasn't going to be able to re-download it.
She didn't have that faith like I did. I was on my shift at work when it went down, and so it was like I probably didn't have like the time to,
do you think you would have deleted it?
No.
Oh.
I had hope. I was like, this isn't going away. I was like, it will be back within 5 minutes. So I kept that. And your girl held out.
Yeah, I deleted it like an hour later.
Yeah. Which is smart. you know, I guess you just didn't want to go and, like, have the thing. I let myself.
I feel like I'm missing out now.
I know.
But it's fine. There's Instagram. There's already so many other platforms of social media. It's fine.
But Instagram Reels...
They are different.
They don't have the same effect as
I feel like
TikTok.
I'm late to something, too. If I'm finding it out on Instagram, I feel like I'm late. But
and I feel like Instagram Reels are, like... this is, like, such a side topic, but I feel like Instagram Reels are, like, more aesthetic. Like, they're not, like, funny. Like, when you go on Instagram Reels, it's rare that you, like, are laughing. It's more, like, aesthetic videos. When I go on TikTok, it's, like, curated comedy.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like when I'm laughing on Instagram Reels, it's because, like, some comedian or something. Something that's purposely meant to be funny compared to, like, something more authentic, maybe?
Yeah, like, oh, yeah, TikTok's more authentic. It's just, like, raw humor. And then on top of that, like, it really is, like, you've liked somebody that it's curated to you. Yeah. So, like, I'll get, like, TikTok, like, healthcare ones that crack me up. That's funny. Like, I don't get those on Instagram. So, yeah. But, yes.
Back to about? I don't even remember.
We were, like, dating apps.
Yes, that's what we were talking about. I feel like I would like the dating apps to a certain extent. To, like, if I was trying to figure out, like, what my type was or like what I wanted in someone. For a while when I was dating, I feel like I grabbed things from different dates and I was like, okay, like, this is what I'm willing to tolerate, or, like, not even tolerate, but, like, this is what I'm okay with and this is what I'm not okay with. This is what, like, I like, and this is, like, what I don't like. So I think that kind of helped me in that aspect to kind of realize, like, what I'm looking for and pinpoint it more.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where dating apps would be nice, but also, like, it's exhausting talking to so many people.
It's exhausting. And the thing also about dating apps that has people fed up is now, unless you want to pay for the subscription...
You have to pay?
No, usually you don't have to, but if you don't pay for the subscription, the people you like are not going to get, you're not going to get the people that you like. They give you, like, the scraps. And then all of a sudden, because remember I tried this, and then me and Julia paid for 1 week to see, and me and my friend paid 1 week to see, and all of a sudden it was, like, these guys that we had liked. I was like, where were these guys at? Because they hide them from you, because they want you to pay for the subscription.
They're trying to make money.
They're trying to make money. They don't care. And so this is why people are now also fed up. It's like, I've also seen this TikTok where you, like, the most humbling thing, she said this and this was so true, the most humbling thing that you can experience as a girl is the Hinge most compatible suggestion they give you. They'll give you, like, oh, hey, Gabrielle, this person's most compatible with you. It's I'm sorry, I'm going to be blunt, the ugliest looking person, like, and beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Everyone has beauty to everybody, and some people are cute, and to other people
I'm dying right now.
But you see it, and you're like, that's my level? And then you're like, and then you sit there, and you're like, well, this is humbling. Like,
I wonder what it takes to, like, what they look at to be like, oh, this is your most compatible person.
I don't know, because it's like, these guys have, I mean, not my type at all.
However,
not my same interests.
However, I will say, I feel like for the most part, not all the time, but I feel like a lot of the times when I see couples, I feel like the woman's more attractive.
Oh, yeah.
Than the male.
For sure, because girls will accept humor over looks and personality. Like, I will accept a guy, like, a lot of the guys I've been out with, you don't think are cute at all. But I'm attracted to different traits to where they don't need to be, like drop dead gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're religious, if you're Christian, that's one for me that I don't...
Those are big ones,
That's a big one. If you're Christian, you don't have to be that cute to me because, like, I love that we have that. Mm-hmm. If you're, like, really motivated, if you're funny, I do love funny. If you're so kind, if you're, like, really kind, I love kindness. I love stuff like that. So that I'll overlook it. I will say that guys will rather, half the time, have a very pretty girl with no personality than have a personality and then not be cute.
You have to find both.
You have to find both. And, like I said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, like I said,
Very
who
true.
I think is cute, Jackie definitely does not. I already let you know. If I think they're cute, Jackie doesn't. And if Jackie thinks they're cute, I for sure don't also. So, like, that's a big, like, That's like the number one way you know. So like that's why it's okay to say you don't think someone's cute. It's not mean because that person is then going to be cute to somebody else.
Very
for
true.
Sure.
Very true. If you're not, that is so true. I definitely believe that like there's a million people out in this world. If one person's not meant for you, that's okay because there's so many other people out there and like you're going to be meant for someone else.
It just doesn't feel like it may be in the moment. But so you don't have to force someone like, because my family used to always tell me, I would be like, Mom, I don't think he's cute. And she'd be like, well, Gabby, just like give him a try. They don't have to be cute. They always say that. And I'm like, because they think like, oh, like you need to rush it. But it's like, you don't need to rush it. So don't sacrifice those things just because you want to be in a relationship. If you don't think they're cute, if you don't like this about them and you don't think it's going to work because of this, that's okay.
If you're not attracted to them in some kind of reason.
Some kind of way.
There are a lot of people out there.
I mean, obviously there is times when someone is being ridiculous. Like there is those circumstances. Or like someone's being like completely unreasonable. But for the most part, you don't have to force yourself into a relationship and like...
I feel like you have to be level-headed about it. You can't expect something out of someone that you're not willing to give. Or that you don't have.
That's very true.
You can't, like, expect a woman to be, like talk... not even, like, be ready 10 out of 10 all the time when you yourself aren't that.
That's true,
You can't expect a woman to be, like, super fit and super healthy if you're not that.
That's true.
I think that's a big thing. I think you need to be realistic in that aspect.
Yeah.
I think if you're I do believe that if you are your most genuine self and you're working on yourself, the people that are supposed to come to you during that time are going to come to you.
I agree.
But how many, question for you. What would make you go on a second date? Like, you've been on a handful of first dates, right? We both have.
I've been on a lot of first dates.
What would make you go, what would let the past, what would make it to the second date? There you go.
That's such a good question. Because, okay.
What are things you look at that you're like, okay, we can go on a second date?
Oh my god, that's a good question. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me sit up. Okay, I'm trying to think. Because she
had to sit up.
I had to sit up for this. Because I have been on dates. I have been on two. It's been a very few amount. But you know the ones that I went on second dates with. Mm-hmm. Like, she knows them.
Oh, I know.
And the ones that I went on third, fourth dates with. There's only been a select few. But I'm trying to think what it was. Oh, gosh. Okay. The biggest thing... What, like, drew me to them to go on a second date?
Okay, I'm gonna say mine.
You go, let me think. You go, because I gotta think. You go.
I would say, conversations. If I feel like the conversation has to be forced...
Yeah.
I'm a very adaptable person. I'm very adaptable. So if I feel like the conversation has to be forced already, I'm not gonna do it. It has to be... I will go on a second date if I feel like the conversation flows and I feel like the attractiveness flows as well, because that's a big thing in it, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there's compatibility in that aspect, I'm willing to do a second date. Also, their mannerisms. I feel like that says a lot about someone.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with my dad actually a couple nights ago, but we were talking about mannerisms and we were talking about it more in a business aspect, like how someone shakes your hand and that kind of stuff. But even then, like, first impressions are a big thing. We were talking about it more in an interview level. But even then, like, a date is an interview, really, like, for that second date. I don't think you're going to get to know someone in a first date. You're not going to get to know them completely. What do they say? It takes like 3 months to get to know someone or something like that. Or it takes 3 months. You can only put up a front for like 3 months. And then like their true self comes out. Yeah. But that first date is like an interview. It's like that first one. Like, are we going to make it to that second date or that second interview? But I feel like mannerisms is a big thing, at least for me. Yeah. I know last episode we were talking about our icks, and a couple of them were like very bare minimum, and a lot of them were like, I would not go on a second date. Like, if I have to open my own door on the first date, there's no second date.
Last podcast we talked about that, because for me, I like rarely experience guys opening just a door for me. Like, that doesn't happen. And the guys I went out with twice, they did open the door now that I think about it. But yeah, like that bare minimum, I don't even experience it in today's generation. Crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long time. Definitely over a year that I have been on a date and I didn't get my door opened. Even my car door. I can't remember the last time I was with a guy and my car door wasn't open. Like, it's definitely been over a year.
Wow. I've been on some sad dates.
No.
So,
I think there's a million people out in this world, and I think you just...
I've met the other half of the million. No, but I agree with you. Like, the for sure conversation, that's a very big one. If I was on the date and I felt like I was having to work to keep the conversation going, because that's tiring. It's like, you can only do that for so many dates.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, let me force...
That's why you can't go on a second date. There's just no point.
There's
like,
no
just let
point.
it flow.
It should naturally happen. Every guy that I went on multiple date with, the first date, the conversation had no effort. It just came out. So, for sure that. And another one for me is, okay, because I was trying to describe what it was, and I was trying to think what brought me to go on these dates with these guys a second time, and it was, they gave me a feeling of, like, wanting more, or, like, a butterfly feeling.
Ooh.
To where I was curious, and I was like, oh, I want to go again. Like, maybe it was, like, a look. Like, I will say with the first guy that I went on multiple dates with.
A look?
It was a look.
What do you mean?
Like, we were sitting... I specifically remember for this one, we were sitting at the bar. You were there. Because you guys were hiding. You remember? For this one specifically, we were sitting at the bar, and at one point he was like, oh, I like your rings, or I don't remember, we were just talking, and then I like looked, and then I like looked up, and then he looked at me, and then we just like smiled, and then I like looked down, and then he smiled, and he looked down, and something about that look drew me in. I was like, I want to keep looking at his eyes. Oh. Like, I don't know. And then the other guy that I went out with multiple times in California, the first date, it was a look. Like, we were drinking out of our wine glasses, and I looked up for my wine glass, and he looked up, and he gave me a look, and we both smiled, and then we looked down. So, like, there's, like, this, like, little look that a guy will give me on a first date, and if I feel that little, like, ooh, then I want to go out again. And the guys that I haven't gone out with again, I didn't feel that at all. I just was like, okay, let me keep this conversation going and then get home. So it's a look. A look.
A look.
Some girls probably know what I'm talking about, and some girls probably don't. I don't know. Maybe it's just me who gets this, like, look. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it is just me.
I don't know what look she's talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
Yet,
it's
no.
like it's like a look of, like, anticipation. Like,
of anticipation for what?
I don't know. That's like what's so intriguing. And then, like, it just always happens.
You never ask, like, what are you looking at? Or, like...
No, I just, like, giggle. And then I, like, look down, and then they, like...
Oh,
and then
cute.
they giggle. And then it's
Cute.
just, like, a little cute moment.
Oh, I love that.
And it's just, it's a look. Because I'm big on eye contact. Ooh, that's
eye
another
contact's
one.
a big one. Yeah, agreed.
Eye contact.
I agree. That's one that I was talking about with my dad. I mean, clearly we're talking about interviews, but, like, eye contact's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't make eye contact, especially when you're a grown man in your 20s and you can't make eye contact,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can trust you.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for a handshake.
Oh, yeah. But I'm also not shaking hands on a first date.
Oh.
You shaking hands? You're like, hi. I'm so-and-so.
I shake a lot of people's hands, so I think sometimes, like, I'll go to meet someone and I'll shake their hand, like, it's just, like...
Oh, really? I go in for a hug.
On the first date?
Yeah, we go in for a hug, usually. It's not, like, it's, like, a... Sometimes I hate it, because it's, like, awkward. No, but yeah, it's 100% the look, because even that one guy... Yeah, it's a look.
A look. That's what makes you go on the second date. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's also because I have, like, big eyes, which is kind of hard to tell from right here. So, like, my eyes are my favorite thing. We both have big eyes.
I know, but I think on the screen they just look little.
We're, like, they look small here, but if in person, I've been, like, people always, like, comment on our eyes. But, yeah, like, I think it's because I have, like, big eyes, so I, like, tend to really look at people.
Give me that look.
It's, like, I don't know if I can, like...
Give me that. Ooh.
It's, like, you have to be, like, okay, like, you're sitting here and you have a drink, okay, and then, like, say you, like, take a drink and then you, like, look up.
Oh, you just
like,
gave me butterflies!
You, like, get butterflies, and then if the guy looks back, like, because some guys won't. I'll be like this, and they, like, won't look back, and then they just kind of, like, look down, but it's, like, you have to give it 5 seconds, and you, like, look at each other. and then it's just like a smile happens, and then you both look down. So you have to hold it, and if the guy holds it for that 5 seconds, and he like looks into my soul, and I like look into his, it just like works.
Oh, I'm gonna try that.
I'm telling you, eye contact. I don't know, maybe it's only for my big-eyed girlies, but it works. And even the guys will tell me that like it made them nervous, like they're like, ugh.
Oh, I'm gonna try that. I have a date for Valentine's. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Mine might be a little different, but
yeah, it might be a little. I was like, it's already kind of established. Do the little 5-second look, girls. Tell me if it works. It worked for me.
I'm gonna try it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. What was this topic? Oh.
Dating. What would you say what would you say in the dating apps?
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel the most like? Do you feel like there's a sense of pressure? Like, do you feel like, okay, so for me personally, also don't know what a dating app is necessarily like because that's not my form of dating.
Mm-hmm.
But do you feel like maybe, like, I would feel kind of like, this might be wrong. I don't know how long people usually talk before they go on dates. How long do you talk to people before you go on dates?
I try to do it within the first week of talking.
You feel like, do you feel like, okay, yes, I would want to meet someone after the first week of talking as well. I would get bored, but,
I don't, because I don't want to waste texting.
Yeah.
I don't like texting, so I don't want to waste doing that for no reason.
Yeah, with someone, yeah, I agree. But, do you feel like there's, like, what do you guys talk about leading up to that week? Like, do you feel like you guys both understand where you're coming from? Because I was having this conversation with someone a couple weeks ago, but people date for different reasons.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Like, some people date for marriage, and some people just date for fun, like, and people are in different places in their life, which is totally fine, but do you feel like you meet a lot of people in the dating apps that are in it for the same reasons, or do you feel like people are very in it for different reasons? Do you ask this before you go on the date?
Some guys have. Some guys ask me, like, well, yeah, usually they'll say, like, what are you looking for on here? Like, I know if you've been on dating apps, you get that a lot. You probably, because I do. It's like, oh, well, like, hey, like, what are you looking for? And I feel like there's a lot of miscommunication or interpretation of what I'm meaning, maybe, because what I always say is, I'm not looking for anything in specific, because I'm not, but I say, you should know, but I am a relationship girl. I'm not a casual girl. And then sometimes the guy will be like, oh, I'm just looking for a hookup. And I'll be like, okay, well, then I'm not your girl. And then he's like, okay, nice to meet you. I'm like, okay, nice to meet you. Like, sometimes
I feel like a dating app would be so much work to look for a hookup. Like, I can see, like, casual dating, but, like, a hookup, like...
You can clarify on there, like, short-term, long-term, like,
is hookup a...
I think it is. I think, like, it is an option. I'm not quite sure, because I only put long term. Sometimes I put, like, some people put short term open to long, like my friend does, because she doesn't want to, like, come up the jump that she's, like, looking right now for a long term relationship, which makes sense. But, like, I will say that, and then they'll be like, okay, yeah, like, me too, like, that's what I'm looking for. But then they're not. Like, I think they interpret it as, like, okay, well, then let's just, like, have fun and, like, mess around then, and then if we catch feelings.
Do you think some people are like, maybe, just my thought, who knows, I could be wrong, but, like, maybe they say this to, like, try to, like, pull you in. Maybe, but I also feel like that would be a lot of wasted time.
I've just had a lot of guys and this is just my experience. I don't know if it's just the men I'm talking. Yeah, different experiences, but in my experience, I've just had a lot of guys do things, and then, like, do things, and then all of a sudden disappear, or, like, all of a sudden,
like, ghost,
like, kind of, like, or, like, all of a sudden they're just, like, not into it. Like, I've had that guy that I was talking to for, like, months. We hadn't gone so many dates, and he literally had just cried to me the week before about, like, a family thing. And he was, like, telling me how he's, like, a relationship guy, and he, like, we were talking about, like, he's like, oh, then he even said, like, our kids in the future at one point.
Like, maybe he got scared, though, because I will say an aspect, and this was, like, at a point in my life where I was very immature, like, early 20s, but, or, like, early in college, I would, like, start feeling stronger feelings towards someone, and instead of me pursuing it more, I would get scared, so I would be the first one to leave. Which is very clearly, I was not in a place to be dating people. But I would start having stronger feelings towards someone, and I would, before I could keep developing those feelings, or those feelings could go anywhere, I could like see where these feelings were leading to, I would just leave.
Yeah, I mean,
granted, I don't think you should do that. I don't think that's okay. I think I was very immature, and I think I was in college, and yeah.
I don't know. That could be it. I think I just experienced for dating a lot. I get ghosting a lot. And I think that contributes to why I'm so standoffish to relationships.
You think people have a hard time just communicating? Maybe they're not looking.
Maybe.
I feel like that is such a, like, if you have shared such a deep connection with someone, or you have shared even, like, a connection with someone, I feel like that's the most respectful thing to do. Yeah. I feel like that's the most mature thing to do.
That's what I try to do now, because I used to be kind of like, oh, maybe if I just don't reply. But now I try to be like I did with that guy in New York. I'm like, hey, like, this just isn't what I'm looking for right now. Yeah. I try to be
I feel like that is, yes, I feel like that is so mature. That is so, that, I think that's the great way to go about it. I have, however, I think that's a perfect way to go about it. Yeah. I think if you've shared a moment with someone, I think they deserve to hear that.
I'm okay. And, like, if you're not into me, like, that's totally cool. I'd rather you tell me than just...
Yeah, I feel like more people should do
that. I don't need details as to why you're not into me. I don't need, like, I don't think you're attracted. I don't need, like, details. Like, but just say, like, it's just not working for me, like, da-da-da, and I'll get over it and move on.
Yeah.
I have had that, but then the issue with that one time is they sent me that message, but we had hung out the night before, and they had... Their actions didn't represent what the next day text said. So that's also different. Like, if you're not into me, don't act like you are either.
Yeah.
Don't give somebody false hope. Like, I wouldn't do that. If I'm not into someone, I'm not going to sit here and, like, act like I am. That's mean. Like, that's so cruel. I would never do that. Like, if I'm not into you, I'm not going to give you false hope. That's mean.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I will say the last time that and I don't feel like if you've gone on a first date, I don't think you necessarily deserve to give someone an explanation.
No, first date, no.
Date. But if you have had, like...
Multiple.
Yes, and if you have had built a connection in some kind of way, then I do feel like someone deserves that explanation. I think it's a hard conversation to have, too, though. Like, the last time that I had to have a conversation with someone and be like, we had a great time, but I'm just like, I don't think we should both keep pursuing this for whatever reason. It was hard. It was hard for me to deliver that to someone. Because I think I also realized, like, I, in a way, was kind of hurting them. Yeah. However, I also realized that was the most respectful thing to do instead of just ghosting them. That would have hurt someone more than me just having that conversation with someone. I think, I will say in my scenario, that last time that I had to do that, it hurt me because I knew I was hurting them.
Yeah. Makes you feel bad.
But then it also dragged on a conversation that, like, I was like, I felt guilty in a way. I don't think I needed to feel guilty. I don't think you should feel guilty.
No.
I think I was putting that pressure on myself. But in a way I was like, wow, I'm hurting this person. I don't want to be hurting this person.
And I think that's something we need to veer away towards in society is being okay having an uncomfortable conversation rather than doing the other option, because I think the other option hurts in the long run.
Yes.
I think people make that choice even in cheating. They're like, rather than walking away from this relationship and telling your partner, I'm not in love with you like I was. I'm not as into you as I was. It's nothing to do with you. We've just fallen out of love. Rather than, or like maybe it's just not working anymore. Rather than having that conversation, and that's going to hurt the person, but that's better than cheating and then leaving with that person feeling inferior. Not inadequate, I mean.
Yes, yeah. I think cheating in another is like a whole other level.
It is a whole,
I think you have to have really low self-esteem and lack of confidence to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's better to have that conversation.
Just have the conversation and you just have to be able to be open to hear it.
Truly, if you care for someone, whether it was like you guys went on like 4 dates, but there was a reason you went on those 4 dates, or whether it was like you were with someone, it's better to sorry. It's I forgot what I was gonna say. I lost my train of thought.
My bad.
No, it's okay. But it's better to have those conversations if you truly care for them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was like 4 dates or whether it was you were with them. But it's better to have those conversations if you truly care for them.
Difficult conversations are good. We gotta learn to have them.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of life. We can't be scared of difficult conversations.
Yeah.
So, I do them a lot in healthcare. And you do a lot in your job too,
I feel like
actually.
even in my, like,
Yeah.
I will say, like, difficult conversations, even, you realize you have to have them, but they're hard.
They're hard
yeah.
because both of our jobs involve having to have really hard conversations sometimes, but they're important. And once you do them after, like, you start taking the initiative to do it, it becomes more comfortable. You become more confident. And you're
going to feel better about yourself if you do.
Yes.
Instead of ghosting someone, you're going to feel so much better.
Everyone, let's stop ghosting in 2025.
Yes, 2025, that's an out.
We're too mature for this, okay? We're not, maybe you are 18, but we're not young kids. Like, let's just not ghost anymore, please. Just tell people how you feel.
Yeah.
But dating...
I would rather be told how I feel.
I would rather be told. I mean, like I said, don't tell me the details.
I would rather be told how they feel. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, you don't need to be like, I didn't like how you ate your food on that one date. It grossed me out. Like, don't...
I don't know. I kind of want to know the details.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
But what if the details, like, I think you're ugly?
Okay. That one might hurt.
I don't want to hear that.
But I mean, like, I'm like, tell me what I need to work on, because at the end of the day, like, I want to make sure that I am with someone and I can be the best partner that I can be. So, like, if someone's like, I don't think this should continue on because I just feel like you lack these and these morals, like, tell me those things. Like, I want to know those things.
Okay, I
want
guess
to be a better partner.
If they're fixable things. Like, if we're not basing it, if it's like an appearance thing, don't say it. But if it's like, like, I feel like you don't listen when I talk, or like, it's like, I don't, things that it's like maybe something I could work on as a partner, like, then like, sure, I'd be great, I would love to know that.
Yeah.
But like, just if we're talking appearance though, just keep your mouth shut. We don't need to hear that.
Not that.
That. I've already turned myself down about that. I just stuttered, but I already turned myself down, so you don't need to add to it.
Yeah. Okay, question for you, Little Miss Dating Apps.
We've been talking about dating apps for so long.
I feel like that's a huge thing. Okay, let's go past that because we are actually at like 42 minutes. Meeting people in real life. How do you feel like what's your viewpoint in meeting people in real life?
I would love to do it.
Yeah.
I wish, if you're a man out there and you see me in the wild, I do have a resting face that people tell me maybe seems not as approachable. I tend to look serious when I'm just doing something. It just is what it is.
I go out with her a lot.
Yeah,
she does.
I do. I tend to just look like this. I do this with my lips a lot. I do that a lot, and I just look like I'm zoned in. But if you want to talk to me or ask me out, I'm all for that. If you want to come up to me like, hey, like, can I get your Instagram, or can I get your number, and maybe we like just get to know each other, I'm not going to tell. I'm obviously, if I don't want to reciprocate it, I am going to be honest and not reciprocate it, because that's just who I am. But why not put yourself out there? I've done it. She's seen it. I literally will go up to a guy and be like, I think you're cute. And it's like, why am I doing this?
No, but I think it's girls should do it. Like, you go
worked out
go
for me.
out there and do it. Yeah.
I've never been denied.
She's never been denied.
Never been denied. So girls, if you want to do it, do it. But I just think that, like, I wish as a society, not just at a bar, or not just, like, if you see a girl that you think is cute at, like, even just a grocery store, just go tell her and ask.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what's wrong, is, like, we feel like that's not acceptable anymore, so everyone goes to dating apps, but everybody hates dating apps.
Yeah, and either they're gonna be, like, interested and they're gonna keep the conversation going, or they're not, and that's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. I can't say I've ever gone up to someone and been like, hey, I think you're cute. I'm, like, thinking, and I don't think I have.
You should. It's empowering. I've done it how many times?
A lot.
A lot.
It's empowering. I don't think I have, just in the aspect, I guess I'm not necessarily, like, I wasn't necessarily looking.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But I mean, like, if the case came, I would. Like, I'm sure it is empowering. That sounds great. But if you are a male, I think you should just do it, because some great things can come from that.
This is where she get rejected, but
yeah,
we all get rejected,
which is fine. Yeah, like we said, like if you're not compatible for one person, there's a million people out there. Yeah.
Girls get rejected. Like, we get rejected, too. I just said how I get ghosted. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
And honestly, something might not come from that, but how great are you going to make someone feel? Mm-hmm. Like, if someone just comes up to me and they're like, you are so beautiful, or I love your hair, or something like that, just some random person saying that, that's just going to feel good at the end of the day. Even if nothing comes from it, that's going to feel great at the end of the day.
Yeah, you just made somebody's day. It's still just a kind thing to do. You're boosting someone's self-esteem.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we do that more? I don't like how we don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
like, that's
we
sad.
should. I agree. I do love, like I said, I don't do dating apps. And I have met everyone I've been on a date with out in the real world. Okay, I have met people who have, like, messaged me out on, like, social media, like Instagram, and gone on dates that way, but, a couple of times, actually, so I guess that's kind of the same idea, but I guess we both weren't necessarily out there looking for something like that, at least I wasn't, Which
is when they say you meet people, apparently.
Out in the real world.
When you're not looking.
Yeah, I have to agree with that 100%. That is what they say.
That's what they say. I don't know. Yet to experience anything like that over here, but...
Yeah, they do say that.
They say it a lot.
I recommend that. Highly recommend that. I think it's a very genuine way to me, and I think that's why I would rather meet someone out in the real world, because I think it's a very genuine way to meet, and I think there's no pressure like there is
with the apps.
Yeah. There's a pressure in that moment, but after you get through those, like, 5 minutes, it's not that pressure like the apps, because on the apps you have to wait until someone messages you, right? Sends you a message, or you have to send a message.
You can send it first.
But then you're waiting for that response. I feel like that's so much pressure.
And it's just also, like you said, it's a lot of work for someone that you might not even have a spark with. And then it's like, it's just so much.
Whereas, like, dating someone or meeting someone just out in the
you had
world.
that initial feeling, so you don't feel like you're necessarily wasting your time. Mm-hmm. But with the apps, you feel like you could be completely wasting your time.
Yeah.
And then it's like...
With the apps, do you feel like... So, personally, I met someone out in the real world. Out in the wild.
Out in the wild. That's what I call it.
And, I think he, like... I want to say the first thing he asked was, like, for my phone number. And that was, like, such a, like, move for me. I was
don't ask for a Snapchat.
No.
We're too old.
I don't even have Snapchat.
I have it because I have I like the filters on it. So I have it because they have some good filters. But I don't use it other than for, like, a filtered picture. That's literally it. Or, like, I have some old memories.
At our prime age in our 20s, we should not be messaging on Snapchat.
If you're in high school, go for it. Knock yourself out.
Not in your 20s.
Yeah.
That should not be our main source of communication.
That should be, like, unlawful.
Yeah, I agree.
If you ask me for my Snapchat, and I'm literally going to laugh, I think. Or I'm not going to reply. One of the two. That's when ghosting's allowed. If somebody asks for a Snapchat, then you can ghost. Only time it's allowed. I mean, there's times when it's, like... You don't know what someone looks like, and so that's why you want Snap. But at that point, let's just FaceTime.
Yeah.
Or I'll stalk your Instagram.
We should make it more common to ask for someone's number. Or someone's Instagram, I guess, maybe.
Instagram's okay. Like, I'm okay with someone asking, can I get your Instagram? Because that's you also, like, looking at them, kind of. Instagram's also kind of a way of, like, scoping someone out.
The last time I met someone out in the wild, they asked for my phone number, and then the following day got my Instagram. Mm-hmm. I would have been so taken back if then they would have been like, can I get your Snapchat?
That would have been... well, at that point, I guess it would have been okay, because they had every other form of contact, so maybe they were just trying to add you on everything.
I know. Could you imagine what a mood killer it would be, though? Like, I'm having a great conversation with this person. I'm thinking of the time where we were leaving a bar and we were getting our Uber, and I started talking to that guy. You know what I'm talking about.
So many occasions.
No.
For us, not her, for, like, me, usually. Usually when I'm the one that she's like having to find because I'm with some random guy.
Oh, I always lose this girl.
Yeah, not her. She's waiting for me somewhere. But usually it's me. So I'm trying to remember at a bar and there's a car
in Huntington.
Huntington. Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But how weird would it be? It would have been such a mood killer if this guy would have just been like, "What's your Snapchat?" or "Give me your Snapchat."
Oh, I know what we're talking about. Yeah. That would have been a mood killer.
That would have killed the night. That would have changed things so much.
Yeah.
But the first thing he asked was for my number, and then the following day he asked for my Instagram.
Which is cute.
Yeah.
I love when you start with a number. I feel like we should. Why don't we start with numbers? I understand people don't want to give their numbers out. Like, I will say
on a dating app, I bet that's hard.
Oh yeah, I saw a TikTok where a guy was like, I have all these random numbers saved in my phone from like Hinge dates. I refuse to save the number because odds are we're not going to be talking after a week, so I'm not saving.
No, this has to be like a rule for any girl. I
don't save numbers.
You don't save the number unless they become someone important.
You don't.
You don't.
And if you have them and you like maybe a nickname, like the nickname that you and your friend like, Cheez-It Boy, or I'm just thinking of like a random.
Yeah, you put. So first you don't save the number.
No.
And then if it's getting like better and you're constantly communicating, then you do a nickname. And then if it gets serious, then you put their
save
number.
the real name.
Yeah.
But like you don't, as a girl, save a man. I mean, maybe there's girls out there that do it, but we don't. I don't save that number unless you mean something to me.
Yeah.
So, but I could see this guy was like all these Hinge, because what gets hard about like dating apps is when you are talking to multiple guys from the dating app, you have none of their numbers saved, and you can't remember which one was which. So you don't know what you were talking about with what guy. And then you don't know their names because it's been too long, and you're not looking at their profiles. So when you have to go on a date, you have to go all the way back to the top of your message when you guys said hi. This is whatever.
No.
To remember what their name is. You have to go all the way back and be like, hi, this is Steven, or hi, this is whatever, just so you can remember what the hell their name was. Steven? I don't think so. But that was just a name that pops in my head with Steven. I don't think I ever went out with Steven. But
I never gone out with Steven.
No, I haven't. But still.
Steven. I feel like that's more like a white name.
Yeah. I think it is, Steven.
Yeah.
Probably. But ironically, I don't really go out with a lot of white guys. So maybe that's why I haven't been out with any Stevens.
But guys, dating in your 20s is a lot of pressure. It's a lot. I think it's dating apps completely changed the game. Mm-hmm. I think it's so different than when our parents were dating. Mm-hmm. So different. The way my parents met, my dad makes it sound like he had so much confidence. I don't know if that's true. I am yet to confirm that with my aunts.
My dad had any.
My mom is beautiful. I mean, my dad, but, I'm yet to confirm that, but I will now, actually. Now that's going to be on my list to do. But, I think it's very different. I think there's so much pressure of dating in your 20s. I think there's so much pressure that you feel like, I think your 20s already, you're trying to figure out life. Yeah. And there's so much pressure because you feel like the pressure that you should have your life together. And I think that includes dating and finding your person. But truly, the world is huge. Yeah. Things aren't going to come into your life until you're ready for them to come. I did realize that after my last relationship, I was like, the relationship that I'm looking for isn't going to come to me until I'm ready for it. And even then, I need to work towards it to find someone that has this. For me to find someone who's the best version of themselves or wanting to grow to be the best version of themselves, I need to continue to grow on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and like, I don't know, like kind of to sum it up, I would say like, oh gosh, I had what I was going to say and then it like slipped. But, okay, so what I have learned kind of with all we're in different areas of dating at this point in time, and we usually are. Me and her are usually like completely opposites of where we're at in the dating world. But what I have learned, and I've been on a lot of first dates, I have talked to a lot of guys on apps, I have 25, I'm just like kind of getting tired, and I feel that way, the same way probably a lot of people feel, where you're just like, I'm tired, I don't want to do it anymore. What I've realized is I think what you need to do is just, like she said, work on yourself. That's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on my goals in life where I want to go, how I want to be, and I'm aiming for that. And I'm not going to do this thing where I feel like I need to be in a relationship. I need to be going on dates. I need to be doing this to find my future husband. I think whoever that person is will come when he's supposed to come. He'll come at the time that he's supposed to come at. And it will work in my life. And I think...
I'm not necessarily saying don't go on dating apps.
No. I just think do what feels right for you in the moment. And for me right now, it's not dating apps. For me right now, it's not trying to push... like, look for a guy. I'm just, at this point in time, I have so many personal goals I want to meet. I'm going to do that, and he will come if he's supposed to.
Yes.
But I'm not going to push off the idea of a date. If I meet a guy and he asks me and I like him, I'm going to go. But I'm not going to be on these dating apps every day, scrolling right and left and, like, having a date set up every weekend because it's a Friday. Should be on a... I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to live my life, have a good time, and he'll come if he's going to come. And if he doesn't, that's just not what's intended right now.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Guys, I suggest you, we're going to continue this. There's definitely going to be a part 2, so I suggest if you're watching this one, don't forget to watch the next one.
Yeah. We veered way off topic.
Yeah, but we're going to keep continuing dating in your 20s. I think it's a great topic. I think we could go on and on. We could probably make 6 episodes out of it, but we're only going to make 2. So... if you have something to add on, please message us on our Instagram, to our 4 followers. 2 of them us. But, if you're watching this and you're one of our 20 viewers so far, please let us know the struggles of dating in our dating in your 20s, and the pressure of dating in your 20s. I think we'll kind of wrap up our experiences next episode, and then I think we'll reach out to some of our Instagram followers and see what some of their pressures are of dating in their 20s.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, guys, for watching this episode. Like I said, don't forget to watch the second part of this episode. We will see you guys next week. And thank you so much for watching Trial and Error. And don't forget, when in doubt in life, when in doubt, reroute. Thank you, guys.
Like and subscribe. Oh, I gotta pee for everyone who's still watching this video. Wait, how do we end?
I don't know.
Every time I do this, people.
Leave. Oh.